Yo, what is up, guys? Today we've got a very special episode of the Long Run Show podcast. Now, I've got to give you a bit of a warning before we get into this amazing episode, which is going to touch on weight loss and some other cool stuff. But I've got to give you a warning. There's going to be some very strong language, okay? So if you are offended in any shape or form by strong language, turn off now. I've left it in, okay? We could have bleeped it out, but I've left it in because it's just the way the guest is, and I really like him. And so, yeah, I just want to put a warning at the front end. If you're offended by strong language, don't listen or don't watch this. Also, all the opinions in here are our own, okay? It's not meant to offend anybody, and we're not trying to get ourselves into trouble. They're only our own opinions, which I think we're entitled to. So I just, again, wanted to put that at the front end of the podcast and of this YouTube video. So, again, if you are offended by strong language, I would really not recommend you watching this. But if you want to learn about a bit about weight loss and a few other things, then stand by, because we've got an absolutely cracking guest for you today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brilliant episode, a special episode, which we're actually recording for the second time because we're extremely professional on this award-winning podcast, because I forgot to hit the record button. We got about 5 minutes in and I noticed. So, anyway, okay, right. So we are here for a special, right? And I'm going to pretend like we haven't already recorded this next 5 minutes, boys. Okay, so just like laugh along, pretend you've had a good time and all that sort of stuff, right? So joining me today, we've got the biggest man on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, where if it's coming to health and fitness, weight loss, whatever it is, this guy is blowing up, okay? Mulligainz is over there. That side. There he is, smiling. And then down there, we've got the man who probably spends far too much time on sunbeds, Mr. Hayden. It's true, though. It is true. And what we did realise when we didn't hit record is that is over in the middle of Ireland. So if you want to send him something, he's like literally stick a dart in the middle of Ireland and he's there.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you send me something good as well, because I'm fairly honest on Instagram. I'll tell people it's shit.
Okay, right. So this is going to be a no holds barred podcast, people, and we are going to get on to losing weight and some tips and stuff like that, because this is how I came across him, and we'll come on to all that, right? We're going to dispel some rumors, and then we're going to talk about a little bit some other stuff, why he hates running, things like that. But before we do that, I actually wanted to find out about your story and tell the viewers, listeners, however they're getting this today, because the story. So I came across your podcast. I came across your profile on TikTok because I think everybody in January looking for how to lose weight, blah, 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 right? And then I started diving deeper into you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and it's Mulligainz Fitness, by the way, all this, so make sure you get on there. And then I think it was one of the shows you did, one of the live performances you did, and you told your story.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I want to start there before we get into the madness of your videos and your content, and how you found us and how you and I connected. Because I think first straight up, and then because I heard this story and I thought, Jesus, and I really genuinely resonated with it. So fill everybody in, however long ago it was before you just went crazy on social media.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. It feels like so long ago now. It's mad. So I'll go back to, I suppose, the very, very beginning. So very, very beginning of my story, I guess, started probably secondary school. Somewhere between primary school and secondary school, I was getting really badly bullied for my weight. So I was about 130-ish kilos at the time. And my watch, hopefully, is going off. 130-ish kilos. I'll throw it out the window on podcast. 130-ish kilos at the time. And like everybody knows, school, people don't hold back. So I was just relentlessly bullied for it consistently all the time. And like, no matter what went on, it was always because you're fat, because you're fat, because you're fat. And eventually that becomes something that you tell yourself all the time. So I was just like, I'm just destined to be fat. There's nothing I can do about it. Until there was a moment I was actually sat in this exact room. My brother came up, my older brother, Owen, and he came up to my room and he was like, out of everyone, right, he was the only person that ever really supported me, came in and rather than calling me fat, he was like, okay, let's see how we can help you out here. So he's like, look, do you want to come to the gym with me? Rather than being like, oh, you're fat, you need to change this or this. He's like, oh, do you want to come along to the gym with me? And I don't know if you have older brothers or people listen to the podcast. You always see your older brother as someone who's fucking like unbelievable, no matter what they are.
Yeah,
they need you. And his friends as well. When I was looking at him and his friends, I was like, oh, these are class. So when I got the opportunity to go to gym with him, it was exciting for me. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. And it got me spending time with him. And all the time when I was there, if I was only lifting 5 kilos, like, holy shit, you're lifting 5 kilos, and he'd support me the whole way along. So I guess that's where my weight loss journey almost started. And there's actually, I'll touch on a part of the story that I haven't really touched on online. It's only from reflecting on maybe the last little while that I have. And this is, again, prior to even having social media, but it's kind of why I got into doing what I do and why I try and break things down as simple as possible. But anyways, bullied relentlessly. Owen came in, helped me out, get to the gym, teaching me about things with weight loss wise, but he didn't really know huge about nutrition. So when I was looking into nutrition, it was the typical shit slimming world, or I don't know if I can say that on the podcast again. Fucking banned. You can bleep it out anyways. But yeah, so the typical diets like keto, fasting, all this other stuff. I remember at one stage then I ended up doing 1 meal a day, which was really a massive turning point for me. So I heard it on Joe Rogan. He was talking about how brilliant it is. And I was like, oh, I'll listen to him. I'll do it. So I got to the point of doing 1 meal a day where I was eating 1 chicken breast, right? So I just started to have 1 chicken breast every single day. That was it. I'd throw everything else off my plate that my mom was cooking me. And I just have that because I wanted to lose more and more weight because of the story I was telling myself for so long of that you're fat, you're overweight, like you're useless, you're not enough. That every time I seen that scale weight go down, I then associated the scale weight going down with a positive thing. And this is actually something that I haven't really touched on social media huge amount. This is part of my story as well, where I just was losing more weight, losing more weight. And I have a picture of where I look like almost anorexic in it, like where I have barely any more body fat, but I'm looking in my mirror and you can literally see the hate for myself in my eyes.
Wow.
Looking at myself. But because I was associating being a better person with a lower scale weight, which actually wasn't it at all. And majority of people fall into this trap of when they're trying to lose weight, they think, well, the lighter I am, the better I am. That's why I'm losing it. I'll be more confident when I'm a little bit lighter. I'll be a little bit more happy. But it's actually not really connected to your scale weight at all. Because if you take a step back, what it actually is from you constantly challenging yourselves. And you guys probably experience this with the running. Like you feel really good, really happy in yourself when you finish a run. But that's got nothing to do with scale weight. You feel more confident in every single day situations because you've done something hard to come through it. So for me, it wasn't actually the weight loss that provided me any of my confidence or feeling better myself, maybe to a certain extent at the beginning, but actually the majority of it came from going to the gym every single day, doing what I say I was going to do. Because if we don't follow through or telling ourselves we want to do throughout the day, so I have to go to the gym, or I have to make sure I look at my calories and eat within my calorie deficit. If I'm not doing that, I'm essentially breaking promises to myself. The more promises I break to myself, the lower my confidence is going to get, and the more I'm going to hate myself. So even though I was the lightest I've ever been, I think it was around 64 kilos. I went from 130 to 64. I was still wanting to lose more and more and more. And so that was kind of a turning point where I tried to heal my relationship with food and tried to learn about, like, I can incorporate everything at the same time and lose weight. One of my great friends, Emmeline, she came up with this brilliant saying. So it's like, you can eat absolutely everything, or you can eat absolutely anything, not everything. So you can eat absolutely anything, not everything. So your portion sizes have to be obviously controlled with these sorts of things. So anyways, that was one turning point. And I feel like I started kind of really falling in love with training and stuff like that. And I remember in my final year of school, the person was like, oh, there's no jobs in sports. Like, there's no point go to accounting or business or become an architect. Because last month of my final year in school, I switched my course to go do sports science. And the career guidance counselor was like, that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever seen someone do in my entire life. I bet she's laughing now. Like, the stupidest person ever. But anyways, after that, I went to college, did all that sort of stuff. COVID hit. I couldn't really get a job in the industry outside of that. Well, I was working in gyms before, just kind of doing bits and pieces. But if I really wanted to get my message out there, I knew online was the way forward.
Yeah.
And previous experiences in gym weren't great because most gyms, you're in England. You actually sound like Russ. This is what I was thinking when around the thing. Do you know Hardest Geezer? Do you know Hardest Geezer that's running across Africa?
No.
You don't know him? Look him up. He's running the distance of Africa. He's running from the.
Oh, actually, I think I may have seen something about this.
Yeah, he sounds exactly like you, so that's why I was like, I heard that accent.
He's hardcore.
Exactly. He's a gangster as well.
Hey, we're gangsters. You heard it. Right, so I'll tell you what then. So you done that.
Yes.
You had your business. I know from the story, it wasn't working. You got yourself into debt.
So this is do you want me to go into that part of it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just blew up, didn't you?
Yeah. Crazy. So I was going posting videos online for like 2 years or so, living in Spain with my ex-girlfriend at the time. And we kind of broke up, and I hit like the lowest point in my life because I had to come home, and it was like all my friends had emigrated as well. They had gone to Australia or wherever. And so when I came back home, I had nobody. And it was at that point I was like, okay, I either go all in with my business or it's just going to flop and I go work back in Supermax where I was working before, essentially like an Irish version of McDonald's. So I decided to buy a camera. So this camera that I have here, I think I spent maybe like $5,000 on it. It was something that I just took a loan out for. I wasn't making a huge amount of business at the time. And when I came home from Spain, because I wasn't great, like when you're not in a good space, you can't help other people. So I couldn't help other people that were struggling with their weight or whatever because I wasn't there myself. So I had to cut off all of my clients after buying that camera. I couldn't afford to pay for the software anymore. So anyone who had paid me, I essentially owed them money for that. So I think in total, my debt was outrageous anyways, for the age that I was. Obviously, I'm living at home, so it's a little bit easier or whatever. But yeah, then I just posted videos every day. I made a promise to myself I'm going to post every day up until Christmas time. I think it was around the 20th of December. My account, I opened my eyes one morning and my account was on 100K. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I was getting messages from everybody in my local areas like, you're buying followers. And I'm like, I swear on my life, I'm not. I refreshed my page, it would be 120. I'd refresh my page, it would be 140. And I'd just go up and I went the whole way to 500K on Instagram. Then my TikTok followed suit like a couple of months later. And then only this September, my YouTube took off. So my YouTube over a weekend, the same weekend that I had that talk that you would have seen in Brighton. Yeah. After that, my YouTube went from, I think, 376 subscribers to 450K.
Jeez.
Literally, absolutely crazy. And it just goes to show the power of, I suppose, one, not giving in with the videos and keep getting the message out there because I knew what it was. But yeah, no, I think obviously partial luck in there, but people don't see the 430 videos I posted before.
Yeah.
Like I posted 430 videos back to back without missing a day. And then one took off, and I was like, holy shit. And it was actually the one video, so funny. The one video I didn't want to put up, but that I didn't think would do well. It was me walking around a park in my local area, and it was raining. And I was like, anyone that wants to go for a fucking walk outside and your personal trainer is annoying you, telling you just throw on a jacket.
I've seen that.
Yeah. I was like, just tell them to fuck off and go walk around the shopping center instead. And that took off. It went crazy. And I was like, oh my God, that was a video I wasn't going to post at all. So yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's mad, yeah.
It is mad. It is. And I was talking to someone today, and he was telling me a story about how he's in the like entertainment business, and he was saying about it used to be like you had to wait for a TV person to ring you up or your agent and book you and all this. He said, but the great thing now is that social media, you can turn it around in a day, and you can make a business out of it if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you can literally chart your own course because the power's in your hands.
Yeah.
Basically, and like you said, one video, bang. Yeah, I mean, everybody hears about viral videos and all this crap that goes on, but it's so true. Just look what happened to you.
I think it's a matter as well of like, I suppose, being genuine to a certain point. Like, if you're chasing the viral video or chasing virality, I would have changed up who I was, and I wouldn't have put the videos the way I am. In person now, even on this podcast, a lot of people would say to me, Oisín, you're a lot more calm. But when I'm putting up my camera to record, I'm thinking about these other fucking idiots that are telling lies, or I'm thinking about that time I was only eating one chicken breast a day. And that's why I actually get so angry. And even on the podcast here, you'll notice me to start maybe picking up the pace at which I'm talking.
Love it.
It's because I'm thinking of these little fuckers from back then. I'm like, I wish I could go back and tell myself, and I wish I could show these people how much with the false stuff that they're putting out there, how much it's actually negatively impacting even teenagers. I've had teenagers message me as young as 13, 14, Oisín, how do I lose weight? What do I do? I'm like, literally just go partake in sports. Don't be worrying about your weight overall and continue on. But yet they're clicking on different podcasts or looking at different videos online and following the shit guidelines that are there. Like the really, really poor relationship with food ones telling you to cut out everything, that there's poison in this. You're going to get cancer if you drink Coke Zero. Just loads of stuff that's so negative about it. So that's so my
true.
Whole, yeah.
It's so true. And the TikTokification of everything, where it's people are making money out of effectively, spouting whatever they want because it's not regulated.
Yeah, it's like if you went to a doctor, right, and the doctor gave you the wrong advice, this is one of the things that I'm like, this is outrageous. If you went to a doctor, the doctor gave you wrong advice, wrong medication, wrong surgery, or wrong treatment for whatever you're going through, you could probably sue him, or he'd probably get thrown in prison. When it comes to nutrition and health and exercise, it's actually a form of medicine. So if you look in science, it's looked at as a form of medicine, exercise and nutrition. So why the hell isn't it treated the same? We can go online and we get absolute bullshit information that isn't backed up by any science, just people online saying whatever, and that can harm your health more than anything. Like, eating disorders are on the rise here in Ireland anyways. I know they're absolutely massive, and they're even bigger than what the numbers are saying because people don't talk about them. I didn't talk about what I was going through back then because it was embarrassing. I was only eating one chicken breast a day. I knew it was wrong, but deep down I didn't, and some people don't even recognize it.
Well, Hayden, you were saying about obesity, weren't you, to me the other day?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's coming now. The news that you're talking about on one scale, down on the anorexic side of things, people wanting to lose that weight. We've got a massive problem over here in England, especially UK. I imagine it's going to be the same in Ireland. Coming from America, the obesity problem at the moment is just horrific, and that's got a knock-on effects of affecting people's long-term health, NHS budgets. It is absolutely rife and massive out there, and we need people who've got these expertise, like you said, to be able to get on with this and like crack on with it and say there's a way for this not to happen.
Yeah, and I think, like, if you think about because with obesity as well, it's so complicated. There's so many different factors, environmental factors and everything. But I suppose the way I look at it as well is, like, stress is in the rise for so many people. And stress, like, especially after COVID and especially through COVID, so many people turn to food to deal with stress because that's actually what happens majority of the time. It's so similar to, say, drugs and alcohol as not even an addiction, but as in turning to use it to cope with your emotions and cope with everything. It's the same when it comes to food, and it should be looked at in a similar way. But also the misinformation, as you're saying, Hayden, like, when it comes to misinformation online, if you look up fat loss, you'll get 6 different videos telling you all different things of this is how you do it, and then the other person will say this is not how you do it, this is how you do it. It's so confusing,
and that's why, right? I resonate. I mean, I just love your videos, but it's just but I'll come on to it in a minute. But it was that no nonsense, no bullshit approach to it, which Hayden. I mean, I get a bit like that. I mean, I have to temper it down to a degree, because I get told off. I've got my friends around me who tell me off. Because I will go off on a rant and rave about something. Yeah. And I love that. The fact that, again, from you, I see something very similar and I just want to tell the truth. And I can't help myself, right? It's black or white, and I'm going to say it how it is. I couldn't really give a shit, to be honest with you. Like we said before we came on, you say what you like, I could care less. And that's, again, I think that's where it resonates, because it's that authenticity that as soon as you see one of your videos, you know it. As soon as you want, because no one is going to turn around and say the words that you say on the video if they really didn't believe in what they were saying, and two, they knew it wasn't true. Because otherwise, you'd get slung out in about 2 seconds.
It's easier not to, because if I didn't, my YouTube revenue would be through the roof. I would also have a shit ton of sponsors.
Yeah.
I would probably have more people on my program, because what would happen is people see me cursing the videos like, oh, I don't want to watch this guy or whatever. I don't do that for a reason. I don't really give a shit. If I had under 1,000 followers back before my account blew up, I was still doing the exact same thing, still posting the same videos, doing it to the point where I was getting in debt. The issue is the money corrupts people a lot of time, especially in the online space and fitness space, and they change completely who they are for that side of things. And that's something that I'll never do. Like, I'll never get a sponsor on my YouTube videos or on anything else, and I don't really want it anyways, but I wouldn't get it because of the way I go on in my videos. And for me, if I was to change that, what would happen is I'd just give up altogether. Because I'm sitting down in front of the camera just being someone else, and like, I couldn't be arsed.
It's really weird hearing it, because as you said, it's exactly what Fordy's talking about. It's exactly what we're doing at 40 Runs and what you do. The only difference with you, going back to what we talked about before, is when you're saying these people giving wrong advice, you're giving advice, you're qualified. You've got that qualifications, you've got that backup behind you. There's too many people, especially with running podcasts, they're giving people advice. And they've run themselves. They've been runners. They've got no coaching experience. They don't know anything about the whole industry.
Massive channels like on YouTube, and there's people. Again, there's no disrespect. Crack on. And this, I'll come on to this because we've gone sort of circle. It's a good way, but people giving out advice, writing training plans and stuff, right? But giving, like, big YouTube channels giving out advice, and they ain't qualified, right? Again, experience counts for a lot. I'm not taking anything away from that, right? And elite runners out there, they've been through programs. They understand a lot. But I do get a bit pissed about it when I see these videos. Oh, how to do this, how to do that. And then you think to yourself, come on, guys. You shouldn't necessarily, because somebody's going to take that and do it. And if they, like you just said, there's no accountability for it. I can't turn around and say, well, I've just cocked up my back because you told me to go and run 4x400 meters at the pace because that's how it looked like in your video. I mean, it's just it drives me up the wall. He'll tell you because I go. There was one episode I nearly lost it because people like taking advantage of people. I won't go into it, but there was a company that I was going to absolutely go 2-footed in, but they stopped me because I can't help it. So you me very serious. So actually, and that's why it comes onto it because we was recording an episode about running influencers. Yeah, we actually was meant to be an email special, but he had a fact on Strava about like running influencers. Now people are following him because they're seeing through all the bullshit, which is great. Yeah, and I think that's great that people are seeing through that because people like yourself, right? And we then got onto this running influencers and all that, and that's where I came onto you because you probably listened to it, and it was just like, this guy's my hero. He just says it exactly how it is. No bullshit with it. Says it exactly how it is. And you know, for someone like me, you know, other interests like want to lose a bit of weight, and there's so much crap on TikTok about, you know, you can tell it's polished and all this. You was like my hero, and then so somebody then sent that to you, right?
Yeah. So John, he was actually in my group. So I run like a coaching group for like accountability and absolutely everything. But he messaged me and he was like, I listened to this podcast and just go 30 minutes there and have a listen. And I was like, these fuckers are talking about me. It's so strange because I'm not used to this. I'm not used to people. Even so, I'd often get like stopped and people like, oh, I watch my videos. I was only up in Dublin last week. To be honest, a lot of it came to life for me even last week or even last year when I was speaking in Brighton, because so first of all, my talk in Brighton had like, I think 400 people at it, and I was like, holy shit, there's actually people that listen and watch the videos and know who I am. And then an event that I hosted for myself, just again, the event it didn't cost anyone any money. It was mainly for my group members or whatever people came in I was just speaking about, but there's 130 there. Then I went to the shop and I got stopped a few times with people watching the videos. And so when I heard the podcast, it was like that again, because when I sit down and record the videos, I'm speaking to myself in a weird way. It's like my camera, I look into the camera and that's it. And then when I heard you, I was like, this can't be fucking real. What's going on here? I messaged you straight away and I was like, holy shit, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, but that was for me. I was like, holy shit, he's messaged me. Like, I just went boom, like this. It's like, I'm like your biggest fan, and like he's messaging me, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. But
we actually have the same microphone.
There you go. But it's true, right? It's weird how, and again, I go back to the convo I was having this morning with somebody. It's how we all sort of interconnect, and he was saying like, with the power of social media and the positive of social media, because it gets a real hard time, right? But like, there's me in the let's say the running space. There's other people, but let's say like he was saying, like there's you, Fordy, in the running space, and then if you want to watch, so if you're into running, you go and see Fordy and listen to his podcast, watch his YouTube channel, whatever. Be part of the club. If you're into boxing, you go and follow XYZ. If you're looking for weight loss or fitness tips, you go and find you. And it's having that power, and everybody's different, so everybody's searching for different things. You might not be somebody's, you know, kettle of fish, and it's likewise to me, right? I got described recently at we did a big national running show. I was described as Marmite, which I get, right? People either like you or he's laughing.
It's my wife that said it.
Yeah, there you go, right? Yeah, it was. And it's true. You either can't stand me or you love me, right? And it's probably the same with you.
It holds so many people back for you, that one thing, because it would have held me back years ago as well. Because the same with weight loss. Whether you go to the gym or you don't go to the gym, someone's going to judge you. Because if you don't go to the gym, you're lazy, you're fat or whatever. And if you go to the gym, you're a fat person in the gym.
I hate the gym. I mean, I've done videos about, I even love this. I actually did a whole podcast and just ranted and raved about this geezer with a beard. He really pissed me off. Right? And I hate the gym, right? So I struggle, like I think with you said about it, but with anxiety, I've got my ADHD, I've got it all going on, right?
Yeah.
And I just crack on anyway. But I hate like doing other things, and I hate particularly the gym. But I know I've got to do it. I'm marathon training. I've got to do it, right? And there's all these pricks in there. And you're on there, you're trying, I mean, you know, and then he's up against the mirror, go like this. And then he's getting in everyone. He left his towel on the bench. So I mean, what's that all about? I looked at him, because of the way I am, I wanted to knock him out. And I'm thinking, but he's about 8 times the size of me.
Yeah.
And it drives you up the wall, the gyms, the idiots you get in there. And it puts so many people up, because if you're body conscious, right?
Yeah.
Or like most people ain't got a clue actually what you're doing, because you don't want to pay for a PT.
Yeah.
You're trying to navigate it round there. You know you're trying to do something, and then you get all these idiots in there. It drives you mad.
Yeah. Hayden, you actually look like a big boy. You look like you'd out bench press me any day of the week. So
He's not. He's very short. He's like a hobbit.
I'm sitting on like a high chair at the moment. So.
But he has been working out. He has been, haven't you?
I've gone to the gym most of my adult life. I go for periods of time where I'll start thinking about getting strength building, start thinking about most of the time, to be fair, it's just about looking good in the body when I'm about to go on holiday. I've got to be honest about it.
Yeah.
I do a bit of strength training and stuff for my running now. That's just because I'm getting older and I need a bit more strength to hold up the bones. But yeah, in general, mine's just it's a vanity thing, to be honest with you.
And I think so. This is the thing with most people, and it's actually only coming out of that space. So I used to be the same person. I used to go to the gym for physical appearance. I go to the gym to get bigger biceps. I go to the gym so women will look at me. It's so funny that people do that because it's only the lads that really look at you. The more you go to the gym, you're like, oh, this lad has bigger biceps. But when you come out of that, so from me being so involved in it, stepping out of it, you can actually see the insecurities in these people. So those people that are standing in the mirror doing their biceps, they're actually really, really insecure about the way they look. So rather than actually looking at you majority of the time, I know most people say this, but it's actually so true. They're actually so conscious and so focused on themselves and so self-conscious of themselves that they don't give a fuck about you realistically. They don't really care. That's one aspect of it. And another aspect of it is for you going to the gym, you have a more long-term look at the gym than these people because only for so long you're going to be able to focus on how you look until you start getting a really negative, say, association with your own body. Because the more you look at something, the more you're going to criticize it. So for me, I used to always go look at myself in the mirror, look at my abs. And the more I'd look for my abs, the more I'd see my belly rolls, the more I'd focus on it in my t-shirts, the more I'd see it all the time. So many people fall into this trap, and it's because they're training for a physical appearance. Another thing is so many people train because they're fat. If you wake up one day and you're tired, and you're training because you're fat or you're not feeling good, tell me that when you wake up and you're telling myself, I have to go to the gym because I'm fat for that negative reason, you're going to get up and go. Not going to happen. And what I liked about what you said, Hayden, was like more so like about how I feel or whatever. And I know you did touch on the vanity side of things, but I think there's two aspects there because you're focusing on your strength as well for your running. You have another focus on it. Is for most people, it should be that, how I feel. So then if you wake up and you're feeling fat in yourself, it's like, I know mentally I'm going to feel more clear. I'm going to feel better if I get up and go to the gym. That's something long-term because when you hit 50 or 60 or 70 or 80, you're going to look like a bag of potatoes anyway. So it won't fucking matter. So these people are going to give up the gym. As a matter of fact, those are the years where the gym is probably most important in your life later on, so that your bones are stronger, your bone density, your muscle mass is stronger. You're able to get up off the chair. You don't have to have someone wipe your own arse for you. They're the things that are kind of most important when it comes to the gym. And only for me, that's only happened recently because I got into jiu-jitsu, training jiu-jitsu, and it removed me from that thing of always looking at where I look. Because most people, that's why I got into it, is I wanted to improve how I look. Now I go to try and get stronger for jiu-jitsu. So when I go into the gym, there's no focus on how I look all the time, or I'm not. Like, to be honest, that's improved my body image tenfold. And that's actually one aspect of running I do enjoy. Because when you're out running, you don't give a fuck what way you're looking when you're running. You don't really give a fuck about what clothes you're wearing. It's not what you're focused on for your running. You're running to run better, and that's what the focus should be. Some people run for fat loss. The people that run for fat loss don't last very long. The people that run for fat loss will never really run a marathon. The people that run for fat loss will never really push themselves out of their comfort zone to do them sorts of things because they'll give up beforehand. So to change that for whether your focus be weight loss or just overall health, whatever, change it to training to feel better. Even for me, just getting out and doing a walk, because if I wake up in the morning time, sometimes I don't feel good. And like, everybody doesn't feel good sometimes, but I know I have something to go back to is I can just get out and exercise and move around rather than I wake up, I don't feel good, I'm fat, I have to go to gym because I'm fat, I'm not going to go.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
It's so positive. Just listen to it. It's so true. It is. It's not bollocks. It's so true.
And as you're talking about here, the education behind it is so important, and the experience as well, because I've experienced being very shit with my body image and being very low with regards to people calling me fat and stuff. And it's only through that experience and the knowledge behind it that you can provide people that coaching and that understanding, and you really kind of understand where they're coming from.
I've talked about it a lot, especially my wife as well. I actually think when it comes to running, it can help with fat loss, but it certainly isn't a big driver with fat loss at all. Running alone is never ever. Oh, you're the expert. You're the wrong person.
No, 100%. You're correct. Yeah,
I'm never going to make you lose. If you think yourself, I need to lose 2 stone this year because I'm overweight, all I'm going to do is run this year. You probably ain't going to lose 2 stone.
No. What actually happens is when you run, your hunger levels, so ghrelin and leptin, will increase. So because you're exerting with more exercise, your body will actually counteract that. And also, after you do a run, are you going to move around the same as you do the days where you're not running? Likely not, because you're going to be more tired. You're going to sit down more. You're going to relax more. So whatever calories you've burned out in your run are actually going to be reduced because your hunger is increased. And then also you're going to relax more. And actually, only through exercise, I think it's 10%. Planned exercise anyways, it's around 10% of our calories throughout the day are burnt. Okay? So planned exercise is 10%. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis is I think 30%. I could get these percentages wrong, but anyways, exercise is the smallest part. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, big complicated word for essentially saying shit that's not exercise that you do on a daily basis. Like moving my hands here, speaking shit, thinking with my brain, that burns more calories. And then there's BMR, which is what your heart requires to pump blood around your body, what your body requires to just keep you alive. If you go into a coma, they still have to feed you calories. People think, I have to burn this amount of calories in a day in order to lose fat. Not the case. Not the case at all. When it comes to losing fat, it's just eating less, slightly less calories than your body requires over a period of time. So many people do it wrong by trying to eat a lot less. I say to people, eat as much as you possibly can when trying to lose weight, not as little as possible, and you will last more long term, because it doesn't matter about losing weight really quickly. And I know I'm going off in a bit of a rant.
No, go.
It's not about losing weight really, really quickly, because if you woke up tomorrow 40 at your dream weight or whatever weight you want to be or the way that you look, and then you lost it all really, really quickly, you could do it. Like if I was on your back hounding you like, do this, you'd lose the weight, or anyone for that. Any coach can shout and scream at you to try and make you do that, or sit in your house, or David Goggins you, whatever, right? Same thing in your house. When it comes to that side of things, what's going to happen is you're going to regain the weight after. When David Goggins fucks off out of your house, you're going to put all the weight back on, right? Fairly straightforward. When you put all the weight back on, tell me you're not going to feel worse than yourself after being at the body weight that you wanted to be and then going back up. You definitely are. Your body image is going to be worse. Your food relationship is going to be worse, and you're not going to feel good in yourself. You're going to feel worse than when you were at that body weight before. So my thing for you would be, do it as slowly as possible. Yes, it's going to be a little bit annoying. The weight might come up and down a little bit, but more long term. And then from that, you're going to feel happier for it.
It's like gold. It's honestly, you've got to write a book. You need to go. I know you can do it on ChatGPT or whatever it is, but write a book, brother. I'm telling you now, that's the next thing you've got to do.
It's on the way. I just have to sit down. I actually have a thing. Yeah, I have. They've been in touch with me the last ages, but
I'm telling you.
ADHD doesn't let me sit down.
I know, bro. I'm with you. Don't take the meds though. I refuse to take them, because it's like I don't know about you, but my ADHD, I view it as a superpower.
I agree, 100%.
And the fact that I can be hyper focused on a million things, right? Hayden drives him up the wall. I rang him today with another brilliant idea. But because I could be hyper focused on a million ideas, I don't want to slow that down. Yeah, I can't sleep because of it. But in some aspects, it's absolutely a secret weapon that if you can use your ADHD positively to make positive change in your life, yeah, you've got to have therapy and all that to sort of counter some of it. Yeah. But you know, I'm being serious, right? It can help, isn't it? But I'm like you. I can't sit down and write a book. I can't sit down, so I get it. But you've got to do it.
You can find a way that works for me. So for me, when I'm working, I can't work like a normal person online or whatever. I'll have like 30 tabs open up on my fucking Google Chrome and I'll click between them and swap jobs. That might be negative for some people. For me, it's not. It's the same as like when it came to organizing that event. I remember I rang the videographer 3 weeks before the event in Dublin there that I had last week. I rang him 3 weeks before and I was like, I'm thinking about hosting an event. Do you want to do it? And he goes, just a random thought that came to my head. And he goes, yeah. Where is the venue and like how many people are coming or what's the story? And I go, I'll plan that in a couple of seconds.
Worry about it later.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. But it is like so many people need to stop seeing that as negative. It's the same as like a big part of my story is I struggled with my mental health for that whole time after I came back from Spain to the point where I couldn't even leave my house. I remember I went to the cinema with my brother. I had a panic attack. And if someone had came in then and told me I had depression or told me I had anxiety or told me I had this, not only would the medication have completely numbed me and probably taken my own personality out there to the point where I would have just given up on all this anyways. Not that medication is a bad, like,
no,
it's a plastic, but I think for people, you need to work on that outside. If I didn't go to therapy, I wouldn't fix myself. And if someone had told me I had depression, you have this, you instantly become that person. It's the same as telling someone you're fat. They instantly become that person. So everything that happens after that point, it points to their fat. Think about Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather goes and eats a burger. He's not fat. He's an athlete. He knows that. So he just gets back on track the next day, continues on, goes back to training. You tell someone that's fat and they're eating a burger and they see themselves as fat, they've fucked everything up and give up altogether. So it's all about these stories that you tell yourselves in the head. And the mental health aspect side of things, it's only from thinking back to my own struggle with mental health that I'm like, fuck, if someone had told me I had depression then, or someone had told me I was fucked up, I would not be in this position. I would have just given up, because instantly then it's decided I have that from then. But it's not. The thing is that consistently working on myself, consistently working on my mental health, consistently doing things that are hard. Like even last week, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going doing a high rocks because I don't feel great in myself. Let's just challenge myself to do something hard. No training. Marathon was the same.
I'm coming on to that.
Yeah. So for me, I think that's another thing that needs to be touched on. My mom's a therapist, and I have loads and loads of discussions with her about this the whole time. And even her, she's going to start coming into the online space now as well. She might not curse as much, but she needs to get that message out there that there's a lot of that sort of stuff that needs to be touched on.
No, I mate, you're right. It's super, super powerful, right? And as I said, I'm with you 100% on that. Again, that's why I think I relate to you, because
Sick.
very similar and that sort of stuff. Right. I'm going to come on to weight loss. We're gonna dispel some of the shit that's out there. But before that, I have to ask, right? On your videos, does it? Do you? I know script is the wrong word, but do you think to yourself, right? I'm just going to call these a bunch of, you know what? And like when you do like the one in McDonald's when you're sitting in your car going, I would do this, but I'm sitting in my fucking car or something like that. You said it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
How do you think of this stuff?
So I think a lot of mistakes that people make when they're making videos is I used to do this thing where I'd make a video and every time I'd mess up a word, I'd cancel. So I'd like, okay, start again. And okay, start again. So what I started to do is just record the whole lot. Whatever comes out, I'll go back and edit in the funny parts. I'm like, that was actually kind of stupid. So I'll just leave that in there because someone will laugh at it or leave that. I think that's what I do. Do I script part of my videos? So yeah. So at the start, what I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll just, okay, I want to talk about eating McDonald's and losing weight. And then underneath that, I'll be like, okay, this is the main point that I want to make. And then I'll script it in a way as well that holds viewers' attention a little bit better, which is important for social media, because if I just give the answer straight away, people will just scroll off and then the message doesn't get out there. So there's a little bit of playing the game with that. But a lot of it then is just sitting down in front of the camera and me being myself, which took a shit ton of time, because before I was so anxious about the way people would see me or the things people would think. And it was only from that, a good thing for some people that are struggling about like what people think of them, is I sat down and I was like, who's the most innocent famous person I could think of? Who's the nicest famous person I could think of? Dermot Kennedy was the person. I don't know why. I'd actually not even really listen to his music, but I just looked him up and I looked up his Instagram, clicked in the comments, and there was people like, you're this, your music and this. And I literally, I'm not joking. I remember I did that one evening and I sat and looked at my phone and I was like, if people think Dermot Kennedy is they're going to click on my video and they're going to think I'm 10 times what that person is. So yeah, that's going to happen. So that's kind of that side of social media. Is it takes time to get your personality out there. It takes time.
It's brilliant. It's true. It's vile. I mean, I don't. God knows what you get with your stuff, but I mean, it is vile. I mean, but I enjoy like sometimes just bantering these people, like just like shut your mouth with that mouth, or I mean, have a nice day. I can't help it. I just think it's funny that these people out there get so worked up over a YouTube video, or they think they know something because they saw it on some other idiot's TikTok video. I think it's brilliant. I think it's hilarious. Some of it's like nasty. Don't get me wrong. These couple of geezers went after me when I put a video out about something I can't remember anymore, and they all started jumping on it. I thought, and I just said to them, you know what, you're just nasty bastards. And I just removed them from the channel. But in general, I mean, your stuff, you must get absolutely teared up, right?
Yeah, I made a McDonald's video once, and a guy, I'm going to call him a fucking Egypt because I hate him, and I'm going to call him out again. Paul Check. He's a big, massive thing. I hate him. I don't care. He created a video anyways, and it was so funny. He created a video saying that I was telling people that they could eat McDonald's and lose weight, which is actual fact. You can, as long as you incorporate in your calories. And your overall health isn't going to be impacted by one fucking Big Mac throughout the week. It's not going to impact it overall. Matter of fact, I ate McDonald's for 2 whole weeks as an experiment.
I know, I saw it in the mirror.
And I got tested for my cholesterol and everything, and they remained the exact same as they were beforehand. So it didn't change. But anyways, this fella called me out, and off the back of his video, a load of people were messaging me. One of them messaged me, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill your whole family. And I was like, this is mental, over the fact that, one, we're talking about health and overall well-being, and you're coming at me like this, and second of all, over a McDonald's video, you're telling me you're gonna kill me. And I was like, this is crazy. But then the funniest comment I've ever got is like, I really like your videos, you're a really good personal trainer, and like, I love your videos or whatever, because you're kind of fat and chubby like me, not ripped like all the other personal trainers. And I was like, okay, I'll take it.
Relatable. Relatable.
So it's relatable. It's authentic. It's not bullshit.
I don't care. It's funny.
This is what we're talking about. Right. Okay. So talking about that. So listen, we could talk about weight loss tips, but what is some of the bullshit that you've seen out there? Let's dispel like 5 things that people kind of do or think they should be doing. That's absolute nonsense.
Okay, yeah. Right, I'll think of the best one.
On the spot.
I'll probably listen back and be like, oh, fuck, I missed out on that one.
Don't worry about it.
Biggest one that seems to be a big thing is, and maybe with runners as well, is the ketogenic diet and fasting. So training fasted. That is a big
Yes, that's interesting.
first of all, like I suppose base it around how you're feeling. Like if you like to train faster, that's okay, but it's not going to be better for fat loss. It's not going to be really better for performance either because you require carbohydrates and stuff. But yeah, so that would be one, and then that kind of interlinks with your keto as well. Is that it's this big massive thing that it's a better diet or that it makes you lose weight faster because of ketosis? It doesn't. It's bollocks. Yes, your body's going to use fat as fuel, and this is where it's really, really confusing. There's a difference between fat for fuel, which is the fats that we get from our foods, and the adipose tissue that our body stores. It's just scientific terms is adipose tissue for the fat that's actually on your body, and the fat as fuel is fat that we get from foods and stuff like that. So they think that the both of them are the exact same thing, and so when you're using fat for fuel, you're actually burning off fat. Not the case. When it comes to ketosis, it's still a calorie deficit. It creates a calorie deficit through you having less foods to select from. But people don't realize carbohydrates are the primary fuel source for our brain. So cognitive function is going to decrease over time if you are staying on the keto diet. It's going to make things way more difficult for you. Also, like, how can you live your life avoiding carbohydrates when every single social occasion you ever go to is carbohydrate related? Okay, if the diet's working for you, that's perfectly fine. But I don't see someone lasting long term on it. If it's not something that's going to be long term, then don't. And then with the keto diet, ketones and all this other fucking bollocks, it's just essentially what it is essentially just a money making scheme. The diet was initially invented for people who have epilepsy, so I think it's meant to benefit those, and that's where it kind of came from. But other than that, there's no health benefits in comparison to a high carbohydrate diet, as long as protein and calories are the same. So if you have the same amount of protein intake and same amount of calories, well then ketosis or you're having your high carbohydrate meal will result in the same amount of fat loss. And actually, I would probably bet on the side of things of carbohydrates probably being a little bit more sustainable if you had high carbohydrates and lower fat. So yeah, keto would be one.
I'm going to jump in because, and I don't know why. Let me get rid of that. I don't know why, but while you were talking, I was just thinking of one of your videos about the ice bath. There's you at the end of a video talking about something about people who use. What is?
I'm still doing them.
Yeah, but what is the deal with these ice baths? Because everybody on social media, right, is using ice baths to lose weight. Is this bullshit or is this not?
Yeah, it's fucking bollocks. That's why I was doing it. I
know, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Yeah, and I was doing it at the coldest time of year as well to be like, it makes no fucking difference. I did it for a period of, I'm not joking, I had to break the ice getting into the thing. It was during the storms there. So I like to go out with a hammer, break the ice to jump into the ice bath. And it's the coldest ever going to get. No, I had the same amount of weight as I did at the start of the week as I did at the end of the week. People are like, oh, you should have done it longer. It's not going to make a fucking difference. The science shows you can burn, like, I think it's a very minuscule, maybe an extra 10 calories per day from cold exposure because your body has to heat your body back up. But overall weight loss, it doesn't. And I know the fella that you're on about talks about it all the time. He's a fucking gobshite too, and so is your man who did the 72-hour fast alongside him. I
know you mean.
Call him out next. Yeah,
he's gonna go.
It's this sort of stuff that impacts people's health so badly because there'll be someone out there, right? And ice bath's not necessarily going to impact your health. Do I find a benefit from my head? 110%. I get into the ice bath. I feel clearer after. It kind of clears brain fog. Recovery-wise, it's actually not great either because blood vessels we want open in order to shoot blood to the muscle, help recovery, remove lactic acid. But when we get into an ice bath, it closes. And the only thing you're actually getting help from there is the fact of you don't feel pain. So it removes pain, but your muscles aren't recovering. So if you do it over long periods, you will actually have more, say, higher chance of injury, but less recovery. And also it's shown that you will get less muscle building effects off the back of just using ice baths. However, hot to cold can help. So going from cold then into a hot sauna or whatever can be beneficial.
Yeah, you've always gone like full circle as well. We're going back to it. And the reason these are all coming about is it's all commercial. This is all you think an amount of ice baths these companies are starting to sell now. You're going back to like the keto diet. That is massive, multi-billion-pound industry. It's Atkins diet. Where did that come and went? These are all just phases and fads, and people off the back of them are going to make absolute millions and millions of pounds.
Yeah. This is it. And any diet has a name is shy. There was one guy I was chatting with, Carl O'Rourke, because he came and he spoke at my event. He was so funny, and he was like, "It's so funny diets." He compared them to lads and Mickeys. Let's say Mickeys, anyways. I probably shouldn't be going into this. Hopefully, you know what I'm on about. But going around, you don't go around with your Mickey telling everyone, "Look at this, look at here, showing you this." But with diets, for some reason, we do, and we should treat it like our Mickeys. Keep it to yourself. Do what works for you. You don't need to be going around showing everyone. If it has a name, it's bollocks. And some people come on my videos telling me, "Oh, you're telling lies." I have no reason to tell lies. Like if I was telling lies on my Instagram, I'd be selling a product off the back of it. I don't care. I don't really advertise my coaching. Every time I open my coaching, it sells out pretty much straight away. 5 minutes, I think the last coaching intake that I had sold out, and I don't need to at all. The only reason the coaching is there is for people who need a little bit more accountability.
I never saw. And that's genuine. again, no bullshit from me. I've never seen you sell anything. I've not even, and any, you got no links, no nothing. There's nothing. He's not trying to sell it. Right, next one from me. There's a product out there. I'm going to be very careful here. That you could, that's in the fridge aisle in supermarkets.
Okay.
That is effectively a meal replacement milkshake. Yeah.
I know who you're on about, and if it's something related to your man who runs a podcast that brings on all the absolute shit talkers as well, that's one of the biggest podcasts out there, and they're sponsored that podcast. I hate them.
But
everyone's going to know who I'm on about.
Yeah, no, but
I'm not saying nothing, but yeah.
But that product that you can have instead of a meal, like as a replacement, which is brilliant. I love this. So a lot of runners, right, who are trying to, and I know this because just at the weekend just gone, a friend of mine, he's having that instead of his breakfast. He's having some fruit with it and stuff like that. But in general, he's drinking that, and that's his breakfast. Are those things, like, it's hard to say exactly because you don't know what products and what's going in it, but are they a good thing or a bad thing just in general?
So I suppose it depends on what it's being used for. If it's like for a runner and look, they need something that's quick digesting and like something that's going to be absorbed quickly. Well, liquid probably will, because their body can kind of go through it a little bit quicker than having to break down foods. Like, so I think that side of things. But for weight
a meal replacement, would you say?
Yeah. If he's doing it for the sake of like he's waking up early and needs to get something in before his run, I'd say that look, that's not too bad. But when it comes to the weight loss aspect, absolutely not. Like, you're going to stay drinking shakes for the rest of your life? Probably not. And also, there's a big company that were doing that previously, and this is why I don't really trust supplements. And there's actually scientific research behind this. We went on Amazon, took out 30 of the top supplements on Amazon, tested the products. I think it was 17 of them didn't say what it said was advertising in the product. So what it was actually saying, say it said creatine actually wasn't in it. There wasn't creatine, now it was all different supplements. And then there was another 17 of them that had things in it that weren't listed on the ingredients label. Okay, so that's out 30, 17 didn't have what they said in it, and then another 17 didn't have, so that means 2 would have crossed over or whatever. But so essentially, supplements, you didn't really know what was in it. But there was a big company that would have done meal replacement shakes before, and if you just look up their name, everybody knows who I'm talking about. The biggest one that were there, sponsored footballers and stuff like that. Look up, they got sued, and don't quote me, but allegedly got sued because I've seen it on Google if you look it up, and they had things that were impacting people's liver within the supplements, I do believe. So
again, that was a big commercial thing. It was one of them pyramid companies, wasn't it, where they get salespeople and then they sell to people. It's again just big business.
That got that big for weight loss that GPs in Ireland were recommending that as a thing, and also the clubs that I go on about, they're recommended sometimes from GPs in Ireland as well. I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but that shouldn't happen. Especially like if you're a GP that's looking after someone's health, you should know at least the basics of nutrition or the basics of health to be able to point people in the right direction. But most of them, because GPs require so much study, that they don't spend a huge amount of time on nutrition.
Yeah, it's true, actually. It is true. Right, okay. I've just looked at the time. I mean, we could be on here all night. Right, because I want to get onto this to sort of finish us off. And I just loved this video of you running a marathon, right? I just think it was one of the best things I've ever seen, because how much you go on about despising running is brilliant. I love that. And then you just see, so you allegedly trained, and I'm putting in there because you did like 6 weeks of non-training.
Yeah.
And then you went and ran the Dublin Marathon, right?
Yes.
And how was that?
So I got approached by a charity. So I couldn't say no. Charity messaged me and was like, Ushing, would you run a marathon for me? And I was like, yeah. So I didn't know when it was. And it was a charity that I'd kind of closely related, because one of my clients that I worked for years actually passed away from cancer. It was actually Cancer Care West. Reached out to me, asked me what to do it. But I didn't realize when the Dublin Marathon was. And I was like, yeah, I'll do 100%. They were like, oh, it's in like 8 weeks' time. And I was like, shit. So I documented the whole thing on Instagram. Like, this is how proof I hadn't been running. I had to go buy my running shoes, my Hokas. I went, bought them in the shop, went to the shop, figured out about all this sort of stuff about running. Had no owners do it. But yeah, 6 weeks trained. Part of that, I was on holidays in Lanzarote as well, so my nutrition was all over the place. We ran our first, I think the longest distance I ran was in Lanzarote. I ran 30K.
Is that the one where you were going back and forth?
Yeah, nearly killed me. I was like, oh my God, only that I had Sam with me. Sam started puking about halfway through. It was so fucking funny. Dublin Marathon anyways. I was like, right, I have a goal. I want to try getting around 4:30. I was like, it seems like the good pace that everybody kind of aimed for in the first marathon. Let's try and do that. I think I might have got 439 or something like this, so just above. But yeah, torturous. Holy crap. My hip was in bits. I remember starting, I don't know if I put this in the video, and I documented my Instagram, so there's proof. I actually went into the doctor's the day of my start in my running because I thought my appendix was needed to come out, but it was actually my hip. So I had to take anti-inflammatories to try to bring the swelling down and stuff like that. But yeah, my hip went, I think, like kilometer 15. It was so bad. I remember I went to the toilet one stage, had my hand here on the portaloo, and I was leaning forward, and I couldn't lean back. I couldn't use my hips to lean back. Someone came in and opened the door behind me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I have to go now." So I went off. But I think I finished about 4:39. 6 weeks of training in around that, so I was happy enough.
Is that? I mean, you said you did a high rocks. How was that?
That was torturous as well. I remember if I'm standing up now off this chair, you'll see me when the podcast is finished. I'll be like pushing off the everything to get up. I think it's important to challenge myself. It's something like if I'm not constantly challenging myself, I find I fall into a negative mental health space. As in, like, I just feel like there's something off. I feel like I'm not feeling good in myself. I feel like something's going on. And so constantly challenge myself, whether it be with my business, whether it be with the online stuff, whether it be with training or some aspect, I have to feel like I'm being challenged or struggling in order to feel better after. And I feel like a lot of people fall into that as well. And like, I'm still young, so I'm still learning, like, maybe that's not a healthy way to be, or maybe that's not something that I should look at. That's why I said yes to the marathon. That's why I was like, oh, I'll do a high rocks this weekend. I enjoy the feeling after.
It's so interesting. I mean, we could be on here hours. You know, it is, because it's that thing. But so I think the way to round it out is what's next. Where, I mean, so you had where you was. You blew up, right? Yeah. You've now got this, I would say, cult status out there, okay, which is awesome. You're genuine, you're authentic. It's only going to get bigger. But what apart from the book, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, what's the plans? Where do you go now? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? It's something that I had a transformational coach for a while. It sounds like a big iffy term, but he's kind of just helping me navigate my business and life and stuff, because I was really like confused on like, what do I want to do or what do I want to achieve? And I suppose like I have to still work through that with him, but just the coaching I do, want to try and impact as many people as I possibly can with that, and just keep going to where I'm at. Like, I feel like sometimes, I don't know if people are like this, like if I have a massive goal, I feel like there's so much pressure, I feel like there's so much, I have to do this, have to do that. I'd rather just wing the shit out of it. Like that event, it was just like, I'll wing the shit out of it and see what happens, try it, and if I fail...
Does that sound like anyone, Hayden? Does that sound like anyone?
Yeah.
I think part of that might be as well being afraid of failing, being afraid to flop. So this is a big thing for me now. It's like, okay, because it's very possible my accounts get deleted, and this is why every opportunity that comes by, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. You're like, podcast this weekend, yeah, put me down. Anyone that gets in touch with me, I'm like, yeah, 100% I'll do it. And it's because I'm like, would I regret this if tomorrow I woke up and I didn't have a social media following, I had no platform or I had nothing, if everything was gone, and say I was back to normality, or back to just, again, in a simple life. I'm still living a simple life in some ways, but with my business and stuff. And I was like, okay, an event is something I want to do. Documenting my high rocks is something that I'd like to do. Setting up my book side of things or my coaching is something I'd like to do. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. So I think I need to stop living in fear now and start maybe planning more of like what is the forward step for.
I think like that video you did where you stood in front, and again, I get it right in terms of nerves, anxiety before something like that. I mean, we literally just did the National Running Show, and we was on stage, and I had to go out there, and I was saying to Hayden, do I like put like notes down, and he just said, what was it you said? Just go out there. What was it? I can't remember.
It's because you've done it before. I think you're overthinking things. You're worried about things. You're just like, basically, as you just said, just wing it.
Just wing it. And I think for you, I reckon like this. I mean, just if listening back to this, the stuff that people are going to get out of this is going to be incredible. And I think the way you come across, you've got to be out there, bruv, standing in front of people, telling this story, but and like you did with that other thing, and telling like. Cutting out the BS from what's online and putting that in front of people physically as well, because I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I think the online stuff, like there's only so much impact you can have with online stuff to the point where like you really connect with people when you're in front of them. But I'm the same as you, Fordy. Like I was really anxious before doing those talks. I was really nervous, and like I find that so difficult. Sometimes I find it hard to slow down. Yeah. Well, it's just my heart starts going, and I like. Fuck, I don't know what to do next. And that's one thing that I really want to try get better at. And I think the only way I do that is by challenging myself and going out and standing on stage. Because I remember it was the same as me. I was like, okay, my presentation for that talk where there's so many people there, I was like, I'm gonna have I'll just read it off the screen, just do that. But then it was like, okay, when I got on stage, it was actually fine, and it was just getting over that barrier of it. But yeah, no, for sure, I think that's a good point. It's nice to have outside perspectives as well, because people don't realize the online space is very lonely. Like, I don't really chat to a huge amount of people. I live at home, I help my mom, we go back and forth, we just have a laugh. But I feel like I don't have a massive, say, amount of people to go to and be like, what direction do I go to here? I have my best friend.
Yeah, it's hard.
I've been through so many people, but it is tough. Like, the online stuff is difficult because people don't understand it as well. Like, you probably get it as well with podcasts and stuff. People are like, why the fuck are you jumping on Sunday at 7:30 to go and do this talk, or what's going on here?
I do like, so I do one on a 7 o'clock on a Monday because of
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, you get it wrong, so fucking idiot I am. But because the demand was there, like, we did the one on a Friday, like, so it was like anything, innit? You're trying to look at trends, you're trying to look at, how to maximize it. We've got a large community in terms of the running space. The subscribers on YouTube is little in terms of versus others, but our community, like, we're the biggest running club in the country, right, over here.
Yeah.
So it's connecting with those. So then I started doing one on a Monday, and you're just like, oh, fuck me, and where does it stop? And then you go and do live shows, and I'd love to do more of that. But I'm lucky, right? And this is the only, and I know I'll give you advice because that's condescending, but I'm the only reason I do so well, I feel, in terms of what we do as a community in the club, is because I've got people like Hayden, right? I've got my close friends. He's laughing, but it's true. I've got like 3 or 4 people that I'll go, I've had a brilliant idea, and they'll go, "Fordy, you're talking absolute shit." Or he'll go, "No, actually, there is genuinely something there." Sick. And to have that you can fire off of, right? And whether I've got it with my brother as well. To have that, I think is key. And like, you're on another level to me, right? So that's the only thing I would say is find those people.
Yeah, I have 100%, and as you're saying to him, like, I fucking do that quite a bit with a good few of my friends like Sam or Emmeline or people like that. But even when you hear, like, with this side of things, I take advice from everybody, and this is a big thing with influencers or people out there. It's like, I'm above everyone else, and like, I'm so much better. Why do I need to take this advice from people? It's the same when it comes to weight loss. Some people will jump on my program or have a chat with me, go back and forth. I don't be like this and being like, do this, do this, do this, do this. This is exactly what you need to do, and ignore everything else. It's like, okay, look, the better option would be probably to go out and do a walk this evening. You're not feeling it right. Second best option is just to make sure you're rested. You decide between two of them. I'll give you positive and negatives. It's the same when I'm in here listening to you. If I'm sitting here in a thing of like, I'm better at social media in 4 days, or I'm better at this side of things, or better at running, or better whatever, I'm not going to learn. And I'd rather sit down here and listen to you for an hour than listen to myself talking for an hour, because I'm not that sort of person. I don't really care. Like, I'm just a fucking regular ass person. I listen to everybody. I take advice from everybody. And that's the biggest thing with social media. So many people are in an opposite position. I don't know if you've had many guests on here. Actually, I'm going to start listening to the podcast now. And everyone else, fucking subscribe if you haven't already. I'll do it for you. Sick as well. The sponsor from Skechers is sick.
Oh shit! But I tell you something, right? I refuse this, and he'll tell you this. I refuse to have guests on. So, 2 things when we set this up. One, it has to be recorded live because I want viewer interaction. None of this polished bollocks, made up questions, and all this shit. I've got no interest in that. I'd rather have 80, 150, 2 people in the chat asking and getting involved in the questions. Right, that's important to me. And secondly, if I have a guest, right, put you to one side, but you kind of actually are, I want real people. So if I have a runner on, I've got no interest, right, in having, I don't know, some elite runner on. Because it's not relatable. No one gives a toss, and it's not relatable to my viewers, my listeners, my community members, my club members. It's not relatable. How can they relate to how fast somebody runs 2:35? Yeah, we can learn a couple of bits. And don't get me wrong, we've had people like Ben Felton, super fast, but he's a nice guy. He's not an arsehole.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. So I genuinely, right, he'll tell you, I don't really have, I have people from like agents emailing me, oh, this person's got this book. I just write back, we don't have guests.
Yeah.
Or I quote them an amount of money that's so ridiculous to have them on that I never hear about. Because why would you? Why? Again, it's that authenticity. Why have them on?
Yeah, good point. Actually, one thing before I go.
Yeah.
I didn't know a huge amount about you before, because John had just sent on the podcast, and then I listened. I was like, fuck, I messaged this guy. But I've been following your social media the last couple of days. You're a running coach. Will you come in and speak to my community about running and a couple of other things? 2, you can jump on and do it. Because I'm the same as you. So when it comes to my community, I don't just sit there and talk to them. So I do a live call with them every week. I rather get experts in that are better at things than I am or know more about certain stuff. And people
100%.
are relatable as well, because I've had people in to speak that are maybe really high up in the industry but very scientific, and they just can't relate to anyone. Like, I want people who are relatable. I want people who can come in and teach people things from a perspective of I'm the same as you, or like I was in that position before. I'd love to have the two of you in to speak.
It's a date.
Let's go. I'll send it to you.
What a hero. Right, so we're going to do one big final plug, although the boy doesn't need it because he's like massive. So if you want to follow him, right, this is where you need to tell everybody. Go. It's really easy for you, though. Go tell everybody where they can find you.
Mulligainz Fitness. It's hard. Everyone focuses on the spelling of it. There's another guy on Instagram who is actually local. He's only like half an hour down the road, and he stole the app that's just Mulligainz. And I'm like, give me that. But yeah, Mulligainz Fitness. You'll find it hopefully.
Across
go on to 40's page, and I'll be there somewhere.
100%. Now I'm being serious, right? I will give a warning to anybody who goes onto TikTok. You've got to be prepared. It's brilliant, but if you're offended by language,
don't.
And kids don't listen to it, all right?
Yeah,
but I tell you something now, and this is not bullshit. I genuinely love the stuff. It's simple, it's easy, it's relatable. When he's putting things like in water and trying to explain to you about stuff, it just makes sense, right? Again, so just please, just go and follow it and get involved. And honestly, mate, I tell you, I was made up, right, when you messaged me. So I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you spending 60 minutes of your Sunday.
I love it.
Hanging out with us. Yeah. Honestly, you're an absolute legend. So thank you very much. Hayden, thanks very much for sitting there and looking handsome.
What I do.
It's what he does. It's like we just wheel him out. It's what he does.
Before we go, actually, I don't know if you're able to say it in podcast. Everyone's start showing up to your door. Where in England are you from?
Right.
I'll give you a clue. It's not Newcastle like you thought it was earlier.
Right.
But I'm just thinking, if I'm ever there, we have to catch up and do a run.
Well, I just think we need to get together. I'm telling you, I'm going to get my phone.
Do it. I feel like you're the sort of people I could just chill with for the fucking day.
I just think, well, we need to get out. Firstly, we do need to come to Ireland, right? We've got to go. Somebody recommended, right? We was talking about after the National Running Show. We was like, where are we going to? We want to take the show. So we did one in Newcastle and all this sort of stuff. And we was like, what do you think we should do, guys? So one of these geezers turned around and said, Dublin Marathon at the Expo. We need to get you guys on there and do that. So, but I'll be serious. We need to go to Ireland because we've got a lot of runners in Ireland. So it is somewhere that we do need to go to, 100%. So, but I just think I would just love to be on stage. Wouldn't it be awesome, right? Him and me on stage, just hanging out.
Dangerous. It would
be dangerous. We would get taken off in about 2 minutes. We've got this, one of my friends called Sabrina. I call her admin. She has a nervous breakdown every time I open my mouth, especially in places where there's like brands and stuff. But she's a hero, right? And I wouldn't be able to do any of this without her. But I imagine that she would have a breakdown, wouldn't she?
Yeah, with me anyway. She wouldn't be able to.
Oh, it's just so good.
I
think it's brilliant. Well, I'm going to get a picture. Hang on. And we probably shouldn't do this on the pod, but we don't care. I'm going to do this because I'm going to.
My big
heroes, and then because we're going to put that out to say that we recorded.
Is this live as well? Is there people watching this live?
No, so I'm going to record this because I was so frightened about what you was going to say. No, I want to put it out. I know, genuinely, I want to put it out as a special because I think it warrants. We don't put specials out unless there's a reason, or the fact that we got a night off and we can't be bothered to do it. So I wanted to give this the respect that it deserves, having you on and giving us your time. I wanted to do that, and that's why it means so much for you, for me coming on. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to try and find. We've got a really good outro. It's not, but I'm going to try and find that as well. So again, we do look slightly professional. So again, get over, follow him, right? Leave us nice reviews. Anybody leaves us not a nice review, we're just going to delete it. So don't worry about it. And make sure you're pleasant in the comments, people. Okay. Right. That's it. I'm going to play the outro. We'll see you all later. Thanks, everybody. Bye, 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 bye.